A great crowd on hand for today's race, and that is because it is a gorgeous afternoon in Toledo, Ohio.
Incredible. Look at last year's weather. 55 degrees when we here for this race. A full 26 degrees warmer today than last year.
What a difference a year makes. Take a look at our race analysis for today's race. 200 laps, 100 miles on this half-mile oval.
Yeah, the key to this race right here is that the ARCA Re officials have given these teams 6 tires in the pits. That means 1 full set of tires plus an extra set of right side tires. When you want to put them on, that could be the key. That'll
be the big question. The pit window, 150 to 160 for fuel. Let's take a look at our touch of gray track map. And this is a little tricky half-mile here on the Toledo Speedway. It has been around for so long. There's been so many famous people, obviously racers that have been on this racetrack.
Yeah, I've been coming to this racetrack literally my entire life. I grew up in Detroit, about 50 miles from here. My brother Benny won 3 of these ARCA Re races here back in the 60s. I've always loved coming to this racetrack.
Our Remax starting grid will be on the top of the screen. It's Justin Lofton claiming his second pole of the 2008 season. Dexter Bean will start on the outside of row number 1. We'll ride along with a few different drivers today. One of those being the 11 of Brian Silas. He'll carry one of our cameras and start in the 26th spot.
We're also going to ride along with the Hantz Group, New South Lemonade, Stein Seed Ford for Matt Carter. He starts in the 8th position. Remember, this is the team that Frank Kimmel won all those championships with. They're just outside the top 4 right now in 5th.
And the last time we were here, he went to victory lane.
That's right, back in May.
He's got a little momentum bringing that car right back here to this racetrack. Let's head back trackside to Adam Alexander.
I think everyone knows, Rick, that Frank Kimmel loves to race. You talked about him. He has been very good here, winning 9 times. But what about Ken Schrader? He's a 4-time victor here at the Toledo Speedway, and he is a guy that knows all about success at this facility. In fact, case in point on loving to race, he was running last night at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in Concord, but he decided to fly over here, arrive at 2 in the morning to race in this afternoon's ARCA event. Brian Keselowski practiced and qualified the car yesterday, and that means Ken Schrader has got to drop to the tail of the field to start this race, but it will be fun to watch the veteran try to come through the field and pick up his 5th win here at the short track of Toledo. Jim Trado?
And he will have company in the back, Adam, as David Reagan has made the way from finishing 10th last night at Lowe's Motor Speedway to make the race with the Rulo brothers, number 39 Ford. They've won here before. They actually tested here this week with David, but he's all about promoting the Shriners Hospitals for Children. 22 hospitals throughout the country since 1922. He met some folks at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It became a close relationship. He now visits Shriners Children's Hospitals and certainly wants to give them some exposure for their first foray into motorsports. David Reagan's personal efforts to get Shriners Hospitals some exposure, and on their website, shrinershq.org.
Now, not only do we have obviously the race on the racetrack that we're going to be focusing a lot of our attention on, but we've got to keep our eye on that championship. Scott Speed will start today in the 3rd spot. Ricky Stenhouse starts 4th. Both of them making up row number 2.
Yeah, very anxious start here for these two guys. They're right there together now. Most of the field's behind them, so that's a good thing, but anything can happen on the start.
The fans are on their feet. The green flag is in the air. We're underway for Toledo Speedway. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ducked behind the 2 of Scott Speed at the start.
We know Ricky Stenhouse really needs to get up there and try to lead laps. Right now, if Scott Speed was to lead a lap, it's only 18th place finish is where he would have to finish to clinch the championship.
Scott Speed running 3rd. All he needs to do, and I say that obviously with a little bit of humility there, all he needs to do is finish 17th. That's not easy to do, but Scott Speed has shown that he has been able to wheel that race car up to the front of the field pretty much at every racetrack we've been to.
He sure has. There's the 37 block car of Dexter Bean right there. Dexter finished 2nd in this race back in May, or in the race back in May here at Toledo. He would love to get that first win and would love to come here. Look at Ricky Stenhouse all over the back of Scott Speed.
Again, those two are not only fighting on the racetrack for maybe a win here today, but the championship. 2 rookies battling it out for 3rd on the racetrack and for the championship trophy at the end of this season.
Scott Speed right now knows that if he keeps that 99 car anywhere around him, he's in good shape.
Just has to stay with the 99, but obviously as competitive as these two drivers are, they're going to want to make their way to the front. They want to win this race. Problems coming out of turn number 4. The 23 is involved. That's Donnie Kelly. The caution comes out for the first time today.
Yeah, David Reagan and Ken Schrader, who had to start at the back of the field, barely avoided this incident coming off turn number 4. Dexter Bean is sideways over in turn 4.
Problems for Dexter Bean, and again, he was running second at the start of this race.
This incident happened way behind Dexter Bean, and then when Dexter came back around, somehow got involved in this.
There you see some damage to the 38 of Luke Hall. Take another look. This is from the wall coming out of turn 4.
Looks like a little contact back there caused that spin. Then he lights them up. That's
Parker
the 77 car, Parker Klingerman. And all the smoke back here. And you see the car stopped on the inside of the racetrack. That created a situation for Kenny Schrader and David Reagan.
Both of them able to slide through, having to start at the back because of the driver change. They did not qualify those race cars. Will come right back for the green flag.
Great start by Justin Lofton, looking for win number 2 this season. Won that huge win not too far from here at MIS.
Is there damage to the front of that 2? It looks like the hood of that 2 is wrinkled up just a little bit.
You know, that may have been what happened with Dexter Bean. We know Dexter Bean was running second when that caution flag came out and then came back around through it. Huge jump by Ricky Stenhouse. Ooh, he may have thought he went a little bit too early. He back off and gave the spot back to Scott Speed.
Green flag back in the air now. The final race of the 2008 season for the ARCA Re Series. Your point leader Scott Speed running second. Second in the points is running third on the racetrack. That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
You know, I wonder if they're going to be team motors because Ricky Stenhouse gets to the inside of Scott Speed. Oh, contact.
Bumping. And the caution has come out again. We've got a problem in turn number 2. And so for the second time in just a few laps, the caution has flown once again.
That's Dexter Bean again with trouble. Looks like he's got a lot of damage to the rear of that Glock Chevrolet. Remember, Dexter Bean had problems earlier. Jim, what's going on with that 37?
Well, Dexter was among the leaders after qualifying in the top 5, and he did get tapped by Scott Speed as they came to the caution in turn 4. After much discussion with team owner and crew chief Jeff Spraker and ARCA officials, they didn't give him his spot back. He blended back in 15th. That's where he restarted. They thought they had a very good race car. I'm guessing on this restart, Dexter certainly wanted to get back to where he thought he belonged, up with the leaders after a hard impact in the turn 2 wall. We'll catch him down here as he comes down pit road here shortly. Adam?
And on that first spin by Dexter Bean, one of the reasons he got turned around, Scott Speed getting on the brakes, could not get woe down and got into the tail end of the 37. Scott Speed apologized on the radio, and to confirm the damage you saw, Phil, on the front end of Speed's car was from the contact they made on track.
So sure enough, a little bit of damage to the front of that race car. And again, Scott Speed looking to clinch a championship today. Take a look from on board with Brian Silas what just took place. Again, the 37 skating up the racetrack in turn 2.
Hey, Jace.
Yeah.
Look, he got loose
Yeah.
and then chased it up the hill. That wasn't a deal where he just ran up there and ran in the left rear quarter. Yeah, that's good stuff there now. Mr. B's all over it.
You didn't pick a winner today. Well, I'm not going to rule anything out. It's early. Donnie Kelly gets the lucky dog. In that 23, Donnie Kelly. He started 28 out of Humboldt, Texas.
One to go. How long back? Oh, beautiful.
Welcome back. 2 cautions early in the ARCA Re Series Championship 200. One of those involved was the 37 of Dexter Bean. He started second on the field. Our Aaron's lucky dog goes to the 23 of Donnie Kelly. He gets a lap back, but a lot of damage to the left side of that race car.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of sheet metal damage at a place like Toledo Speedway. Very, very tight quarters here. Small half, 14-degree banks. Very, very challenging short track.
Field coming through turns 3 and 4. They'll get the green flag as they come out of 4. It is still Justin Lofton in front of this field. Scott Speed, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 2 and 3.
I think right now Scott Speed would love to be able to shake Ricky Stenhouse a little bit. And then remember, Justin Lofton is one of his teammates. They may allow him to lead a lap if he can get away from Ricky Stenhouse.
I'm guessing Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wants to stay all over the bumper of Scott Speed or get past him. But Scott Speed is probably a little bit annoyed. There was some contact that was made earlier in this race between those 2 race cars. Scott Speed was on the outside. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had to chase his race car up the racetrack and got into the back of Scott Speed, but not a lot of damage to either race car.
What a great, that red car right behind that point battling duo right there is Brandon Thompson. What a terrific job he's doing thus far, running 4th.
Brandon Thompson holding on to that position. Matt Carter just behind him in the number 46. Justin Allgaier in the 16 just behind Matt Carter. And now the field is already spread out all the way around this racetrack.
You see that 2 car of Scott Speed, the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. See how close they are. Just a few moments ago, right before that caution flag came out, they were battling really, really hard. Caution flag on the racetrack.
Caution one more time. We've got a problem with the 12.
There was a contact right there we were talking about earlier, Rick.
Yeah.
Looked like Ricky got a little bit loose, had to chase the car up the hill, made contact with the left rear of that Red Bull Toyota.
It's Allie Owens that's struggling right now. The 3rd caution of the day comes out. And Allie Owens has problems in turns 3 and 4, and so she gets turned around. The field tries to get by her, and she'll try to spin back around with a little bit of damage there to the left rear. So 3 cautions early on in this one. We're only on lap 22 of 200. But it's almost expected when you come to a short track, and you've got so much on the line.
You really do. And you've got 35 cars starting here. That's a pretty big starting field for a half-mile racetrack like this. We've only run 21 laps. I really don't see any of the guys running up front right now pitting. And again, of these 21 laps, we've probably only had 10 or 12 laps running the green.
So pit strategy will come into play, but we think it'll take another 25 to 30 laps before we see any of our championship contenders make their way to pit road. Welcome back. Green flag back in the air from Toledo Speedway. The ARCA Re Series Championship 200 continuing on lap 25 of 200.
Nice jump by Justin Lofton. Opens up 3-4 car lengths on his teammate Scott Speed. Ricky Stenhouse all over the back of Scott Speed like he's been this entire race.
Stenhouse needs to get up front. He needs to lead laps if he wants to have a shot at this year's championship. Adam Alexander.
And you guys have talked about the opportunities for Scott Speed to get around his teammate at the front of the field, lead a lap, and get those bonus points. But they're actually talking about the opposite. They are so concerned about how aggressive Stenhouse is behind him. Speed has actually talked on the radio about letting the 99 go around, and they make contact. Speed into the wall.
Speed into the wall hard, and that happened because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was into the back of him. Let's see if he's able to continue on. A lot of damage to the right side of this race car. He needs to make his way onto pit road.
You can look and you can see the rear end is really shifted over to the left. He may have broken a Panhard bar.
Caution has come out once again. It's the fourth one. And Phil, I tell you what, we said it had to be a miracle for there to be any chance for anyone to win other than Ricky Stenhouse or Scott Speed. But the miracle could be happening right now if these two continue to be aggressive on the track.
Boy, it really is. That was, it looked like Ricky Stenhouse got into the back of Scott Speed, had an opportunity to back off and turn him loose, and never really turned him loose.
Adam Alexander.
And they are going to come down the pit lane, and that's what we were talking about. You know, so aggressive with Stenhouse, and he's got to be if he's going to have a chance to win this championship. And so now the plan is to come in, assess right side damage, and change those tires. Patrick Donahue, who is the crew chief, a veteran of championships. He was a part of the Jeff Gordon team that won in 95, 97, and 98. And as Scott Speed pulls into the pit area, you can see they have really banged up that right side. He made hard contact with the wall entering turn 3. They take the right side tires off. They will make the repairs and send him on his way. The good news for Speed, there will be a high attrition rate here today, and he only has to finish 17th to win this title. The bad news is he's been put behind the 8 ball way too early in this race.
Yeah, you can see the left rear tire has moved way over outside the bodywork. That means the rear end has shifted over, probably bent a trailing arm. Let's see if we can take right here. Ricky Stenhouse gets in the back of Scott, and that's when if he backs off, Scott has time to straighten it out. Never backs off, pushes Scott up into the loose stuff, and makes pretty significant contact with the outside wall.
Kicks that rear end to the inside of this race car. Here's another look.
It was clear that the 99 car seemed to be a little bit faster than Scott Speed. Ricky gets in the throttle right here. He makes contact, and this stays up against him, and then gets him wiggling, gets him into the outside wall.
Almost climbed up the wall there. And so now we have got another story within the story. It is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Is he too aggressive? Is he going for this championship too hard early on in this race? Or is that exactly what he needs to do to win this championship?
Well, meanwhile, Matt Carter was able to get by Ricky Stenhouse because he got pretty squirrely himself after he made the contact with Scott Speed. Justin Lofton continues to lead. We're hearing that the ARCA Re officials have warned the 99 for aggressive driving, and that was a very, very aggressive move.
Yeah.
And this early in the race, I don't think it was that necessary for him to do that. And he could have backed off, turned Scott loose, and give Scott an opportunity to save that car. But he stayed against him, and then Scott really had no choice. He was in the corner a little bit too hard and a little bit too high. Lifted
that back end up, and so Scott Speed had nothing to do but, as you mentioned, get up into the marbles up there and into the wall. You see the damage to the right side of that race car.
Yeah, the thing that worries me right now.
It looks like there's some fluid coming out of the right side of that race car. It's back toward the back, though. I mean, the only thing that would be fluid back there would be the fuel cell.
Yeah, I doubt if he has a fuel leak. There may be something coming from underneath the front, but just we're seeing it trail out the back.
Well, we talked about it being a very tricky day for anyone to unseat Scott Speed, but points as of now, we see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. up on top. Justin Allgaier is sitting second. Scott Speed third. The points as they run on the racetrack. Yeah, what a change in this standings.
Yeah, an incredible turn of events. Right now, Scott Speed is being shown in the 32nd position. Now he's going to finish a lot better than that unless he has some significant damage that's going to keep that car from running speeds anywhere close to what he was able to before, Adam.
And it did look like it might be fuel that was pushing out the trunk lid. The guy who first identified that was Slugger Labby on the spotter stand, a veteran crew chief in the Sprint Cup Series, who of course has come over to watch over Scott Speed and his development in stock cars. They looked at it, and it was right over where you put the fuel in the race car, and so that appears to be the situation. The car has pulled away as we get set for a restart.
And I don't see that fluid anymore, but when he came by the start-finish line the first time, there looked to be fluid coming out. It was actually on the right side is where I was seeing it.
And the fuel filler is on the left side of these cars.
Back to green flag racing. Still out front, Justin Lofton. Now running second, Matt Carter in that number 46. And right behind him, the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Again, he has been warned for aggressive driving already.
Scott Speed, meanwhile, has to feel that car out, see what he's got underneath him. Right now, he is not even keeping up with the very back of the field. He has fallen back about 15, 20 car lengths behind the last car on the racetrack. It won't be just a matter of a couple laps, and he'll be another lap down.
Looks as though he's trying to figure out what he's got underneath him before he gets into it. You see that rear end shifted over to the left. Again, into the wall. There's your leaders. They're putting him another lap down.
A little contact right there. A little.
Oh, problem. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. around. And, oh, by the way, that was the 2.
Yeah, well, there was no question there. That was a little bit of payback. A little bit of payback.
We got some issues taking place on the racetrack. Obviously, the 99 was given a warning for aggressive driving. The 2 we thought was giving his race car a chance to feel it out and see what was going on. And right now, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is stuck against the wall.
And guess who that leaves in the driver's seat? There's Scott Speed right there stuck in the inside wall. Now Justin Allgaier may be in the driver's seat for this championship.
Let's keep an eye on what's going on here between. We've got some people here that are not going to be happy. One of them obviously is Scott Speed. A championship could have just slipped right out of his hands. He's out of his race car and doesn't look like he has any intentions on getting back in it. Adam?
Well, Scott, obviously some frustration. Take us through what happened first when you and Stenhouse got together going into turn 3.
He was on my bumper and he pushed me flat out until I hit the wall. And then the car was completely undrivable. It wasn't even close. It was so bad from hitting the wall. Couldn't do anything with it.
Talk about the retaliation here as we watch the replay.
Hey, he started it. He ain't going to win this championship with that attitude. I mean, that was ridiculous. That was the most blatant thing I ever saw in my life. And honestly, I mean, it's just ARCA. It's how it is.
Now let's show you what the crew is doing. Scott Speed has climbed from the race car, but you can see along this wall behind the pit lane all the parts and pieces. If you're going to win a championship, you got to be prepared to do so. They've got virtually an entire race car sitting behind the wall to put this thing back together. But guys, I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it. That car is major messed up.
Well, and he hit the inside wall very hard. They've actually done some damage to the inside wall in turn 1 and 2. So there's going to be some work that is going to have to be done to get that corrected before we're able to go back to race. And we cannot mention it enough. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is stuck against the wall on the outside of turn 1 and 2 right now. This
is absolutely incredible. You expect some beating and banging when you get to a short track, but not like this. Not with the guys that are contending for the championship being involved twice with on-track incidents.
And so the 5th caution of the day has come out, and it was Scott Speed that got into the back. A little retaliation against Ricky Stenhouse Jr. As the crews are going to take a look at it and see what they can do. Let's look again as to what just took place here on the racetrack. Scott Speed was a lap down.
He made a little contact at the start-finish line, and then bonsai'd it into turn number 1 to make sure he caught the 99. And we heard Scott say he's not going to win that. He's not going to win a championship like that. He said it was very blatant what he thought when the 99 took Scott out, put him into the outside wall. So that was simply a matter of retaliation, and he did, I think, pretty much take the 99 out of the situation for the run for the championship.
Adam Alexander.
Well, you can see all the guys from the 2 car have gathered here, and they are awaiting their race car to work on it. They have just put it on the hook, and they will bring it back to the garage area. But we talked earlier about the preparation on championship day. Look at this. This is a virtual unbuilt race car that you see here behind the wall. All these guys in the 2 group have assessed the damage by looking at the race car on track in hopes that they can make repairs when they get it here into this temporary garage area. The only issue will be if he can continue, and as you guys reported, ARCA has said Scott Speed is done for the day. Jim?
And Jeff Campy has already called for the war wagon that has their spare car in pieces. The crew finally getting the chance to take the tire off to assess the damage. The tow truck brought the car down, but brought about 35 feet further from their pit box where they had all their spares laid out. Now they're assessing the damage. Jeff Campy, with arms in the air watching the incident, has since calmed down and calmed the crew down to say, hey guys, let's get this done, let's get this right. I don't know if they know if the two's been parked, but they certainly are working as if every lap is certainly a championship to lose for these guys. And Stenhouse remains in the car, net up, eyes focused forward as the crew goes to work now with the help of the RAB team, the Zaxby sponsored car, John West Townley. He's got crew members over here helping to assist as well to get this car back on the racetrack.
And I think the biggest point that has to be made is you made it. Justin Allgaier is our point leader right now. You take a look at the standings. Stenhouse is all the way back in 5th. Allgaier with a 45-point lead over Frank Kimmel right now. And on the racetrack, Frank Kimmel is right behind Justin Allgaier.
Well, I don't think we're going to see a situation where Frank Kimmel is going to run into the back of Justin Allgaier. He doesn't drive that way. And again, that is out of character for Scott Speed and Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Definitely.
It really is. And you know, there may be more to the story. Obviously, Scott Speed thought Ricky Stenhouse's situation was uncalled for or intentional, one of the two. And then he admitted essentially the retaliation. So we're not going to see that out of this guy right here, the 44 or the 16 of Justin Allgaier.
45 points away from his 10th series championship is Frank Kimmel, and he's running 4th on the racetrack. We'll be right back. 1 to go. The ARCA Re Series about to go back to action, and it has been action-packed up to this point. We have seen 1 and 2 of the points have a little bit of a tiff on the racetrack, and in doing that, both of them are off of the racetrack. And now we're hearing that Scott Speed won't be able to get back into the number 2. They might get another driver in there if they can get that car to go. But the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also behind the wall. That has put Justin Allgaier now in the lead position as our championship battle continues.
And right now running second, because we're going to wave off the restart. Matt Carter, Brian Scott, Todd Bowser all came down pit road this last lap on lap number 47. So a little differing strategy for some of those guys.
Adam Alexander.
And it was a 4-tire stop for Matt Carter, who won here earlier this year. And right behind him on the pit lane, Grant Enfinger making a stop. Unfortunately for these guys, it's trouble, overheating, and you can see the moisture coming out from underneath the hood. His day may end prematurely. Jim?
Crew Chief Billy Venturini has raced here, run very well, almost won 2 races, and certainly calling it action from the pit box. They made the call to make their 1 and only pit stop on lap 47 for the 25 of Brian Scott. He came down pit road, a very routine 4-tire change to these Hoosier short track radials, small tire pressure adjustment, no other changes for Billy Venturini, and a driver he told right before the race, I know you want to win this really bad. Let's be patient and see how the race comes to us. They think this is their 1 and only stop to go to the end.
And if we continue with the cautions the way we have, they won't have any problem with fuel. We talked about that probably being around 150 to 160 laps for fuel.
Yeah, we're about 151 lap, 153 from the time they stopped. So yeah, I don't think fuel is going to be an issue. I really feel like we'll probably have another caution flag or 2 before this race is over.
We very may well have another caution before this one is done. Let's look back into what has taken place at the beginning of this race. Here is the initial bump that took place between Ricky Stenhouse and the 2 of Scott Speed.
And in all fairness, Ricky Stenhouse got loose earlier and made some contact. That's the wreck right there when Ricky got in the back of Scott Speed. Never really turned him loose till Scott was up too high. This is the last incident right here. You see Scott Speed made a little contact right at the start finish line, and then barreled that down in turn number 1, made contact with the left rear corner and turned around Ricky Stenhouse, put him in the outside wall.
That is the 2 of Scott Speed, and there's no work being done on that race car. So obviously they have decided to park that race car, and they will turn their focuses to the 20, which is another Eddie Sharp Racing entry.
And remember last week when the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse had trouble, we saw him get airborne, but we pretty much penciled in Scott Speed as the champion.
Right.
And then he had the same trouble over on the front side of the racetrack, and then it opened the thing up, and here we are now. We've got 2 other guys in contention for this championship.
And one of them looks to go for the lead early on. Frank Kimmel looking to the outside, but it was Justin Allgaier that went to the inside of Justin Lofton.
And oh, by the way, that's the other guy that's in this thing, Frank Kimmel in the 44.
45 points separating Justin Allgaier and the 44 of Frank Kimmel for the championship here this year.
You know, right now Frank Kimmel is driving possessed because he knows that this would probably be one of the sweetest championships he's ever won. He was with Larry Clemens, won all those 9 championships. He and his brother Bill went out on their own. They really scraped together some sponsorship. They got a lot of help from 4 here. Caution flag on the racetrack once again.
Yep, it was Brad Smith in the 26. He got up into the wall.
That's Bobby Gerhardt on the bottom of the racetrack right there, obviously with a little bit of damage to that Lucas Oil Chevrolet. But Frank and Bill would cherish this championship if they were able to put this thing together.
Yeah, what a huge story that would be. Obviously, coming into this race, Frank Kimmel was 150 points back. And we talked about a miracle would have to happen for Frank Kimmel to be able to leapfrog over not only Scott Speed, but also Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Those two had a big lead on him. Well, the miracle happened. Both of them out of the race right now.
I don't think we could have scripted this thing to happen like it happened. I would have never in my wildest dreams have imagined that those two guys would have been involved in 2 incidents that put both of them at least behind the wall, if not out of the race.
Jim Toledo.
And we're going to climb in. Ricky Stenhouse remains in the race car. Crew Chief Jeff Campy feverishly working with the crew. We hear welders, hammers. Ricky, from your perspective, this scenario never entered the picture. What do you think happened?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I just hate it for all the Aflac guys. This car was really good, and you know, we hit the rubble strips down here in 1 and 2 and got down to turn 3 and the brakes went to the floor. It hadn't happened last time we were here, but hadn't happened on all practice, but it did, and then I guess he just got us back there when he was a lap down or so. But
Ricky, I heard you discussing some brake issues. Was there any brake issues when you did make contact?
I really couldn't tell what you said there, but when I hit the rumble strips down here in 1 and 2, the brake pedal, I guess it moved the pads away from the rotor there, and it just went down into turn 3 and didn't stop as well as I thought it was going to. But, you know, all these Aflac guys are working really hard, and hopefully we can get this thing back out there and hopefully gain some points. You know, I'm pretty sure the championship's out of it, but we just got to go out there and gain as many points as we can.
Ricky Stenhouse will stay in this race car till they tell him it's over, guys, and it won't be over until they're done rebuilding it.
Unbelievable tournament finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still in the race car. They're trying to get back out there. They're obviously working feverishly to get that car ready to be back on the racetrack. We'll be right back for the restart. Green flag back in the air at Toledo Speedway. A great restart for Justin Allgaier and that number 16 looking for win number 6 on the 2008. Oh, smoke coming out of the 14. It looks like we may have blown an engine. Down the backstretch, the 14 smoking.
So far, everybody through there. We stay green for the moment.
They're going to check to see if there's any fluid on the racetrack. Watching behind that race car to see if he was sending any fluid onto the track, and no one has talked about any problems with fluid. They're still going, and we stay green. Justin Lofton out in front. Justin Allgaier running second. Frank Kimmel is third. Terry Jones has moved up to the 4th spot, and David Reagan runs 5th after starting this race all the way in the back.
And guess who's running 6th? Ken Schrader, the other guy that started in the back.
We want to thank Ken for the ride getting here last night.
Absolutely.
There's Kenny Schrader. Again, we talked about Ken Schrader making the move from all the way in the back. They had to start at the back of the field because they did not qualify their race cars. Ken Schrader and David Reagan.
You see Ken Schrader with 8 wins in his career in the ARCA Re Series. 4 of those wins coming right here at Toledo Speedway.
Knows how to get around this racetrack. It was about 5 or 6 years where he and Frank Kimmel would just swap whoever would win the race when we came here. So they were dominant.
There's the 39 right there, David Reagan. That's a lap car. Bobby Gerhardt, remember, he was involved in that most recent caution. David works to the inside of Bobby Gerhardt. Battle for the lead again, picking up. Coming up on lap traffic. Justin Allgaier going to try to take advantage of some lap traffic. Try to get by that 20 of Justin Lofton. He knows that's 5 points sitting right there.
Allgaier takes a little higher line into both 1 and 3, and it looks like he's going to run a little higher line and then duck down to the white line when he exits 2 and 4.
What a way to punctuate his ARCA Remax career if he could somehow get this championship here as he moves to Penske Racing in the Nationwide Series.
Impressive season, the momentum on his side right now. Oh, Justin Lofton almost getting turned around. They got into the side of him. It was a slower lap car. Justin Allgaier not able to capitalize on it. Now he goes to the outside. That's a battle for the lead.
Justin Lofton able to ease out in front of the 16 of Justin Allgaier. Remember, the spotter for Justin Lofton is a car owner, Eddie Sharp, who also owns Scott Speed's car. So you know he's up there with a heavy heart right now.
I can't imagine what the communication was on that radio for a while. When he saw his other car get into the 99, spin him around, and then both cars out of the race now. But it's Justin Lofton that continues to lead. He's led every lap here at Toledo. Jim.
And the 20 car of Justin Lofton nearly losing after contact with Norm Benning is the car that he's raced at intermediate tracks. This car is the one that won at Michigan for Justin Lofton. He said, I talked to my friends at Canassie. They thought I was nuts, but we're bringing the car to Toledo. They were going to put a new body on it. And his crew chief, Wayne Carroll, said, let's get it on a shaker rig and get it fixed and run here in Toledo. Guys.
Terry Jones has a problem in turns 1 and 2, and so he gets up against the wall. That will bring the caution out once again. That is the 7th caution of this race.
Terry was having a great run. He was running in the 4th spot right between Frank Kimmel and David Reagan. Tough break for Terry Jones. He's run sporadically this year. Had Jesse Smith running his car a number of races. But Terry from nearby the Windsor, Ontario area, not too far from here.
That is about the exact spot that the 99 was wedged into the wall and couldn't move. And now Terry Jones has stopped his race car up there against the wall, and he is not moving. And so we will take a look at what just took place to bring out our 7th caution. A little help Terry had into the wall.
Back at Toledo Speedway in the final event for the ARCA Remax Series. On pit road is race leader Justin Lofton. 4 tires, just a half around the wedge. I asked crew chief Wayne Carroll, are you concerned about the left side damage? No, it's the answer. Down and away. Adam?
And Ken Schrader also electing to give up a spot in the top 5 and come to pit road. Donnie Richardson, the crew chief, said, let's do right side tires only. Keep as much track position as we can. And Schrader is back on track.
They didn't get a lot of track position by doing that strategy. Ken Schrader will restart back a ways.
Yeah, but they beat all the other cars that came down pit road that probably put 4 tires on. Right. And there were a number of cars that came on pit road, led by our leader Justin Lofton, David Reagan, Brian Silas, Patrick Sheltra. A number of other cars came down pit road.
Justin Allgaier stayed on the racetrack with Frank Kimmel, and so 5 bonus points for Allgaier for leading a lap. NASCAR race day kicks it all off in Martinsville next Sunday morning. Join Jimmy Kinney, JR, and Wendy from the only short track event in the Chase. It's race day, built by Home Depot. Live coverage begins Sunday at 11 Eastern. Jim Trader, what's going on with the race leader?
Well, race leader strategy before this caution was to stay out to about lap 100. I spoke to crew chief Jim Pullman about lap 55 or so under green. I said, when you come? And he said, we'd like to go out lap 100 if we could. So their strategy, a one-stop strategy. They didn't want to come down this time for 2 reasons. Number 1, track position. They want to keep on their strategy. Number 2, as you guys already mentioned, those 5 bonus points for leading a lap.
You know, we just haven't had that many green flag laps here. We've had so many caution flags. We've had 40 of the 76 laps that have been run under caution.
Right. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway. Let's see how Justin Allgaier does out in front with clean air. He's got 9-time series champion. Frank Kimmel all over his back bumper on the restart. Brandon Thompson runs 3rd right now in the 29. Michael Simcoe in the 75 is holding on to the 4th spot, and then it's Tom Hessel the 3rd, and the number 1 in 5th.
A lot of respect among these 2 drivers up here up front. Justin Allgaier knows that Frank Kimmel's a veteran 9-time champion, and Frank Kimmel thinks the world of Justin Allgaier. Excited about his opportunity to go nationwide racing with Penske Racing.
Yeah, thinks it's a great opportunity. Not only, oh boy, take a look at this. 3 wide at Toledo Speedway. I'm not so sure that works.
Yeah, Kenny Schrader right there. David Reagan in the middle. He's on the outside of the 22 of Ken Butler. They go 3 wide in the 3. There's Justin Lofton, Patrick Sheltra, John West Townley, Brian Silas in the 11.
Still mixing it up.
Remember, a lot of these cars came down pit road on this most recent caution flag.
Slow car on the top of the racetrack, the 21 of Todd Boucher.
Todd got seized up there on the outside of the racetrack. Now he's on the outside in front of Ken Schrader. Todd wanted to make sure that we mentioned his 5-month-old who's making her initial showing at the racetrack, Ashlyn.
Yep, first ever race for Ashlyn, and we're glad she's here with us.
How about Justin Lofton? What a move on the inside of Kenny Schrader.
He was able to rock it right in front of Kenny Schrader. Justin Lofton trying to get back up to the front again. Spotting for him his team owner, Eddie Sharp.
Brian Silas right there on the inside. Good, strong side-by-side racing right there. Ooh, makes contact.
Gabby DiCarlo gets turned around and right back up into the middle of the racetrack. The 38 makes contact. That is
trouble right here at the start-finish line, too. Kim Butler, the third, is turned around.
And the 60 of Patrick Sheltra makes a little contact.
The 00 right there also involved. That's Matt Krajewski.
8th caution of the day. There you see Matt Krajewski.
It's his first full-bodied race in any kind of a stock car there. You see a lot of damage to that Great Clips car of Gabby DiCarlo, her Chevrolet. Looked like she had a little contact from the 11 of Brian Silas. The 38 right there, Luke Hall, he was also involved.
He makes his way onto pit road. Now they'll have to work on that race car. Take another look at what happened.
This is going in turn number 3. There's Brian Silas. He makes a little bit of contact with Gabby. John West does a nice job getting by. Luke Hall comes along and makes some contact, as well as the 5 of Bobby Gerhardt.
Bobby Gerhardt's been involved in a lot of incidents already today. And it looks as though he gets clipped one more time here.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of damage to Gabby's car right there.
A lot of debris on the racetrack after that hit. There you see the 00. That's Matt Krajewski. Sideways.
Coming off turn number 4 here, right towards the start-finish line. And then Patrick Sheltra and Tim Butler III got together, trying to avoid him.
Justin Allgaier goes to pit road, and Frank Kimmel stays on the racetrack. Jim Trano.
They're close enough to the window. They're going to bring it down for Justin Allgaier and the AG Tech Chevrolet. They're going to go 1 round up on the track bar and 4 Hoosier Radial tires. They have the advantage of not having any other cars pit around them here on what is a very tight pit road on the backstretch here inside of turn number 2. Right side tires getting changed by Allgaier. Crew chief Jim Pullman overseeing it. This indeed may be their only stop down pit road as well. Taking their time as they're now changing left sides. Let's go to Adam.
And Frank Kimmel was planning to come down that time as well, but their theory, we need 5 bonus points for leading, so they stay out and they will come back down here. And they're not going to lose a lot of track position by doing so, because there were so few cars pitting in this cycle. The lap number for Frank Kimmel to come down pit road will be lap 86. And the plan for them, 4 tires in fuel. He has fought a tight race car all day long, started 13th. Highest running position, where he is now the leader. He will give that up, come down, going after his 10th win at Toledo today. And guys, how impressive would this be for a guy who got his first ever win here in ARCA so many years ago? Has been so much to this series to win a championship in dramatic fashion here this afternoon.
Adam, we talked that it would take a miracle for Frank Kimmel. Well, he's got about half a miracle already going, with 2 of the top contenders already out of this thing.
Yeah, it's storybook what could happen here. You talk about it being maybe his 10th win at this racetrack. Well, it would be his 10th championship if he could go on to win the championship again. And Phil, when we started this show off, we talked about no one has ever won a championship this century other than Frank Kimmel.
Yeah, and he's trying to make that statistic stay true.
So Frank Kimmel comes down onto pit road and has service done to that race car. They won't need to come back down. We'll be right back with more racing from Toledo. Welcome back. ARCA Re Series Championship 200 continuing from Toledo Speedway here in Toledo, Ohio. Glass, Jeep, Klinger. We've got all sorts of things from Toledo. Aaron's lucky dog goes to Norm Benning, number 84, so he'll get a lap back.
We've got 1 to go right now. Frank Kimmel was our leader when he came down pit road. He got the 4 bonus points. You see the 4 drive 1-4 there for Frank Kimmel. Frank Kimmel is a 6-time winner now with the Bill France Triple Crown. He won it again this year. You can see his results in the 3 races that make up the Bill France Triple Crown. Racetracks that couldn't be any more different. You've got a mile dirt at Tacoin, a half-mile high bank short track at Salem, and the super speedway at Talladega. But 2 wins and a 6th-place finish for the 9-time ARCA Remax champion.
And right now, currently 2nd in the points after a huge event taking place at this racetrack. Scott Speed, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 1 and 2 in points coming into this race, both off the racetrack now. It is Justin Allgaier's championship to lose. And out in front of the field, it is the 29 of Brandon Thompson that leads us to the green flag, and we're back underway. Michael Simcoe in the 75, just behind him, Tom Hessert the 3rd, then Matt Carter. Rounding out that problems. Almost up into the wall, the 77, and then big problems coming off of turn 4.
Our point contender, Frank Kimmel got by.
Brian Scott, huge damage to the right front of that race car. Michael Simcoe, who was running 2nd, he's parked up against the wall here on the front stretch.
Justin Allgaier is in the middle of the backstretch. He was able to get by. It looked like Tom Hessert got into the back of the 75, Michael Simcoe, and turned him around right in the middle of the racetrack coming off turn number 4.
The 77 was also up. Parker Klingerman was way up into the wall coming into turn 4.
That's Andy Hansen, a 32 car that's right in behind Michael Simcoe in the 75. Michael started way back, 35th in this field, and worked his way up into the 2nd spot when he got turned around.
Still waiting to see, and I'm seeing a little movement now out of Brian Scott in that 25. Normally when a driver leaves his window net up, he needs assistance.
There's a replay right there. You see Tom Hessert. Actually, he got in the back because the 75 was going underneath that 29 car right there, Brandon Thompson. I don't think it was a situation where he just ran into the back of him. You see the 75 of Simcoe getting up really high.
The 5 of Bobby Gerhardt slid into the infield. Here's another look at it.
You see, it looked like the 75 of Michael Simcoe got in the throttle. Tom Hessert got in the throttle, and then the 75 looked like he pedaled the throttle just a little bit. And when he did, Tom Hessert ran in the back of him, turned him around, and then these other guys came along with nowhere to go.
It was a chain reaction. It looked like the 29 didn't get up to speed as quickly as the 75 thought he was going to, and as you mentioned, kind of got out of that throttle just a bit, and that was all it took to cause the pile up behind him.
See right here, this is Matt Carter's onboard right here. He was running in the 4th spot. There's the contact right there. He's going to duck to the inside to get around Michael Simcoe. He's got the advantage that he sees it first.
He was the first one there, saw it. Brian Scott didn't see it in that 25, and he made probably the hardest contact. The tow truck is going to latch onto the 25. And we do see the window net down now on that 25 of Brian Scott. A very good sign there. They continue to clean up this racetrack once again. It's the 9th time the caution has come out. Welcome back. The ARCA Remax Series and the ARCA Remax Series Championship 200 here at Toledo Speedway in Toledo, Ohio. Take a look at this. The 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to make his way back out on the racetrack.
Yeah, these guys haven't given up. Jeff Campy and all his Roush Fenway guys, Eddie Perdue, Greg Biffle's nationwide crew chief is up here helping these guys this week. They did a lot of work with that 99 car. And back on the racetrack.
I'm guessing there's a little frustration behind the wheel of that race car right now. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was taken out by Scott Speed as the green flag flies once again here at Toledo Speedway. It is Tom Hessert III that is in front of the field. Again, the big story coming in the championship was to be decided by 2 drivers. We thought it would be either Scott Speed or Ricky Stenhouse Jr. that would do it. How about this battle for the lead, though? Matt Carter takes away the top spot from Tom Hessert.
Yeah, Tom Hessert slid up off of turn number 4. You see Matt Carter right there. Big lots on board this car as well. He is now our new leader, trying to make it 2 for 2 at Toledo. But David Reagan now takes over the second position.
David Reagan, a strong race car there in the number 39. He moves up to second, following right into tracks in that 46 of Matt Carter.
Justin Lofton restarted this race in front of David Reagan, so David has been able to get by that 20 of Justin Lofton. He gets by Tom Hesser to take over the third spot, and here comes our point leader right now, Justin Allgaier, take over fourth.
Justin Allgaier getting by Tom Hesser the third, and right behind Tom Hesser the third is the third 52 of Ken Schrader. Now the points lead is going to be between Justin Allgaier and Frank Kimmel. Kimmel running 8th right now on the racetrack. Actually, got a little battle between he and the 11 of Brian Silas going on. Kimmel will win that one and move forward, trying to reel in that 16 of Justin Allgaier. Out in front of this field, though, Matt Carter now leading. Justin Allgaier running fourth.
Right now, Scott Speed, Rick, is still shown in second position in the points. He is not going to improve his position. He has already parked. As a matter of fact, we got a report that he has left the racetrack and going to be taken to the hospital for evaluation. He said he was having some discomfort, so he is out of this race. Right now, Frank Kimmel needs to gain some positions to be able to get in front of Scott Speed in the event something were to happen to Justin Allgaier.
And again, Frank Kimmel running 7th now, as he was able to get by Brian Silas. So Kimmel in the 7th spot. Ken Schrader runs 5th. Justin Allgaier, our points leader, is 4th.
Great battle up front right now. Matt Carter has the lead. David Reagan, who ran with a top 10 finish last night at Lowe's Motor Speedway in the Bank of America 500, he runs 2nd. Justin Lofton, our pole sitter, early leader, runs 3rd. And our new point leader right now, Justin Allgaier, runs 4th.
Guy that took one of the hardest hits already today, Brian Scott, is standing by with Jim Toledo.
Certainly one of the contenders caught up in the most recent caution. Brian, what happened?
Prime example of just having nowhere to go. I came out of 4 and there was a 75 car. It was just sideways in the middle of the track. And my spotters told me to go high, but I had a car on the outside of me and the car on the inside. So I just tried to slow down, and then he started going back up the track. And I thought maybe I could get down, duck below him and miss it. But just kind of complete carnage. I hate it for the Venturini Motorsports guys. They really put forward a good effort. We had a really good car. We were in really good position. Everything was starting to work out our way. I mean, the way it's unfolding now, we would have been up front. I hate it. Billy Venturini, all the guys, they did a great job. I just wanted to end the year strong for them. And unfortunately, we're sitting here with the tore-up race car now.
Guys?
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. I mean, Venturini Motorsports is really, they've had a phenomenal season. I mean, Joey Logano got his first win at Rockingham driving for Venturini Motorsports.
Scott Lagasse Jr. won the Chicago race driving for Venturini Motorsports.
It's been a big year. Frank Kimmel. We almost counted Frank Kimmel out at the start of this race, and because of the things that have taken place early on before the halfway point, Frank Kimmel has raced his way right back into contention for a championship. Adam Alexander.
Irregardless of what happens in the championship chase, he may be the guy to be on track today. His crew chief Bill Kimmel just told him, you are 4/10 quicker than the leader. Go run him down. Kimmel restarted 20th back at lap 90 after coming to pit road. 30 laps later, most of them under caution. Kimmel in the top 5 and trying to run down the top man.
Well, the top man right now is going to be David Reagan in that number 39. Reagan is able to get by the 46 of Matt Carter, and now we've got a new leader.
David Reagan probably has made his last pit stop as we see Justin Allgaier move to the inside of Justin Lofton to try to take over that 3rd spot. David Reagan pitted on lap number 72. We know he has enough fuel to go the rest of the way, and he's got the lead.
So David Reagan, a teammate to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who is back out on the racetrack. We thought Stenhouse Jr. was going to be in contention for a title today. It doesn't look like that is going to happen, as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is being scored 67 laps down to race leader David Reagan.
Some heavy traffic for David Reagan right there.
So David Reagan in front of Matt Carter, Justin Lofton, Justin Allgaier, and Frank Kimmel. They're your top 5. Then right outside the top 5, Ken Schrader in that number 52, running in the 6th spot.
Heavy traffic right there. David Reagan, the Shriners Hospitals Ford out of the Rulo Brothers stable. Open up about a 4-car length lead over Matt Carter. Justin Lofton runs 3rd. Justin Allgaier right now runs 4th, and Frank Kimmel, the 44, runs 5th. We're trying to look to the inside of Justin Allgaier in a battle for 4th.
And again, this has got championship. A huge story, championship implications here between the 46 or the 44 and the 16.
Right now, Frank Kimmel came into this race 40 points behind Justin Allgaier. Frank was 150 points behind Scott Speed. So that means that Frank has to beat Justin Allgaier by 9 positions. If he beats him by 8 positions, that means they would tie, and Justin would get the tiebreaker by the virtue of how many wins he's had. So Frank Kimmel right now has to finish 9 positions ahead of Justin Allgaier to get ahead of him in points.
And Frank Kimmel is digging right now. He heard brother and crew chief Bill Kimmel tell him he was one of the fastest, if not the fastest, cars on the racetrack. Go out there and get it. But it has been David Reagan that's been able to put his number 39 Ford in front of this field. Justin Allgaier trying to put an exclamation point on his 2008 season with potentially a championship here in the ARCA Re-Max Series.
Ricky Stenhouse right now back on the racetrack. He's being shown in the 31st position, but a number of the cars in front of him are out of this race, so he will gain some positions. But if Justin Allgaier stays on the racetrack, there's no way that Ricky Stenhouse will have enough points to stay ahead of him.
Now Justin Lofton going to the inside of Matt Carter, trying to take 2nd away. Those 2 side by side as they battle, making their way through turns 1 and 2, and Lofton will take the position away. Lofton very strong, started on the pole today and led most of the laps until everyone decided to come onto pit road. And now he's been able to battle his way back up to 2nd.
Yeah, let's see if he has enough to get up there and catch that 39 car of David Reagan and maybe have something for him. Looks like the 16 of Justin Allgaier is taking a look at the 46 of Matt Carter to try to take over the 3rd spot.
We don't want to take anything away from Justin Lofton if he would potentially win this, but even though Eddie Sharp, the team owner, is spotting for Justin Lofton, I'm guessing it is a bittersweet day for Eddie Sharp Racing, because Scott Speed came in looking as though he was going to be able to clinch this title and win the championship in his first year of stock car racing. And that all ended when he and the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. let their tempers get the best of them. And both of them were taken out of the race. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is back on the racetrack, but he is 68 laps back from race leader David Reagan.
Frank Kimmel takes over that spot from the 46 of Matt Carter. That moves Frank up to the 4th spot. Matt Carter currently running 5th right now.
Kenny Schrader just in front of that 21 of Todd Bowser.
Kenny runs in the 6th spot in that Federated Auto Parts Dodge.
Now there are only 14 cars on the lead lap. Scored 14th is Ken Butler, the 3rd. Tom Hessert, the 3rd.
Tom's running in the 7th spot right now. Had such a great run going last week at Talladega. Had a great race car. Qualified up in the top 5. Unfortunately got taken out with a cut tire.
Finished 27th at Talladega a week ago. Here's Brian Silas in that number 11. Brian running in the 8th spot, just behind Tom Hessert, the 3rd. Brian has run all of the races this season. Started this one 26th today. His best finish of his career took place just 4 races ago at Chicagoland, where he finished 6th.
Yeah, Brian's had a number of top 10 finishes. A nice improvement over last year for Brian Silas. There's Patrick Shelter right there. Patrick's had a couple second place finishes this year. Right now, Patrick runs in the 9th spot. He came into this race 6th in points. I hadn't even gotten that far back. I mean, there's some say he could have passed 2 or 3 cars. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't think that anyone further back than 3rd was going to be even in contention for a championship today. Problems on the racetrack, and that will bring out the caution once again, the 10th time today, as we've got a slow car. That's the 00 of Matt Krajewski. He slows in turn number 2, and so the caution comes out for the 10th time on lap 143. So with just 57 laps remaining in this race, there were quite a bit of caution laps run early. We had 60 laps of caution early on in this race, and it was largely in part to the problems between the 99 and the 2 when they got into each other. We ran quite a few laps of caution.
We've got 57 laps to go right now, 56 laps to go, and looks like the one car of Tom Hessert has a flat right front tire. Frank Kimmel also has maybe a right front tire flat.
He's got some damage. There's some smoke on the right side of that race car. Let's take a look.
A little bit of contact right there.
Yeah, he was all over the back bumper of that 00, and that's the reason for this caution, is that 00 got turned around and then stopped in turn number 2.
Yeah, Frank may have pushed a fender in on that tire. We know he's got 2 tires left. He made 1 pit stop so far. I think we'll see Frank come down pit road here. Pit road will be open this time. Let's see who else is going to come down pit road.
Frank Kimmel was scored in the 4th spot, and we're hearing that Kimmel will definitely come onto pit road. Justin Allgaier looks as though he will stay out on the racetrack. Matt Carter is going to follow Frank Kimmel, a right front tire that is flat on that 44. Adam Alexander.
As soon as the caution came out, Kimmel came on the radio, Frank I'm talking about, and said, I think I have a tire going down. They assessed it after a couple laps of caution and saw it was the right front. So they're going to put tires on, make a chassis adjustment. The question becomes now, with roughly 50 laps to go, will he have enough time to come back through the field? They're going to change left side tires as well. Jim?
Pitting is not an option either for Tom Hessert in the Mako Auto Body #1 Ford. His right front tire is also deflated. He was running in his 7th position. We see front end damage as well from the incident with Michael Simcoe earlier, as that was a big wreck on the front stretch. So Hessert having his share of ideas to overcome. 8th in points, just 35 ahead of Taylor Malsom. So it's a great battle within a battle in the latter half of the top 10 in the point standings. They're looking over the right front, which is completely off the bead. They're now making a chassis adjustment left rear, and Hessert now beats Malsom off pit road.
And so late pit stops for a few that had to make their way onto pit road. One of those being the 44 of Frank Kimmel. Damage to the right front. They've got it fixed and he's back out. Welcome back to the ARCA Remax Series Championship 200. Just back under green flag racing. David Reagan out in front of the field in the number 39. Justin Lofton runs 2nd. Then our point leader, Justin Allgaier, in the 3rd spot now.
I'm telling you right now, I think if I'm Justin's crew chief, I'm going to say, hey, let's take it easy now. You see our points as of now. He has a 50-point lead over Scott Speed. Scott's not going to gain any points. The only thing that can happen to Justin is if he was to lose some points. You see Frank Kimmel now all the way back 75 points behind. That's because he made that pit stop with that flat right front tire. I fully expect Frank to gain that a lot of it. But remember, he has to finish 9 positions ahead of Justin in order to beat him in the points.
Take a look at this. This is what Justin Allgaier and Frank Kimmel would like to avoid. There's a lot of this where the cars are bunching up, and right now Ken Schrader right in the middle of that, but he's able to sneak through there and no problems for him.
Yeah, Frank Kimmel was able to get by that little gaggle right there right before Kenny got to it.
Matt Krajewski on the outside of Ken Schrader now. He will fall back on that high line, and now Ken Schrader with a little more open room to run.
There's Frank Kimmel right there. Frank right now is being shown in the 9th position. He just got by Brian Silas for the 9th spot.
There you see Kimmel in that Ford number 44.
Remember, all Frank can do right now is try to pass as many cars as he can pass, and he has to hope that Justin Allgaier has a little bit of trouble because he has to beat him by 9 positions. Right now, Justin comfortably running in the 3rd spot.
45 laps of racing remaining. 44 now as David Ragan has crossed the start-finish line. Justin Allgaier running in the 3rd spot, looking for his first ever championship in the ARCA Re Series. A family-owned race team that has been enjoying the successes that they had dreamt about for a long time. 5 wins already this season, the most wins of any driver in the ARCA Re Series.
This could be such a huge day for Justin and his family. This is a family-run operation right here, and they've worked so hard, put so much of their heart and souls in this operation, and look what it did for Justin. It's got him an opportunity to drive for Penske Racing. Justin was so excited. I spent a little bit of time with him this week at Charlotte at Lowe's Motor Speedway. He made his debut Friday night, had a good run going, and got involved in an incident not of his making. Looks to run at least a couple more nationwide races this year, and then up to at least 10 next year. So a bright future for Justin Allgaier.
I actually talked to Roger Penske after the drivers meeting yesterday at the Cup race, and just had mentioned that we had followed Justin Allgaier's career here in the ARCA Re Series very closely, and he spoke very highly of this young man and obviously the opportunity that he has given him. And it looks as though Justin Allgaier is going to make the most of that. In talking to Justin earlier today, I said, you know, is it sinking in yet? He says, no. It's been an amazing week, to say the least.
Meanwhile, we have the battle for the lead heating up. Justin Lofton would love to get win number 2 for the 2008 season. He has caught David Ragan.
David Ragan looks to be holding up that 20 right now, and it was Justin Lofton who started on the pole and led so many laps to start this race, and now he's all over the back buffer of that 39 of David Ragan.
Justin Lofton looks to have a better race car right now, but remember, he's got very little experience. But you know, David Ragan hasn't been racing that long either. This is his second year in the Sprint Cup Series and running the full-time nationwide series as well. But it wasn't just about 3 years ago that he was running this ARCA Re Series right here.
David Ragan taking a little higher line through the turn, and Justin Lofton trying to find any opening that David Ragan would make.
May try to catch him in some heavy traffic. There's a lot of lap cars coming up. Look, Justin looks to the inside. Is he going to have any room?
Doesn't make the pass here. As the slower lap car on the inside of the racetrack will slow him down. That's Donnie Kelly in the 23.
You know, there's 35 laps to go, Rick. You may say, hey, that's a long time. But when you're clicking off laps at 16 and a half, 17 seconds, it doesn't take that long to put 35 laps in the books.
David Ragan continuing to get by the slower lap traffic without incident. And Justin Lofton following right in his tire tracks, waiting for an opportunity. Now he looks to the inside. Is he done to make the move? He does make a little contact.
Justin did a nice job staying off that 39 car of David Ragan. He got into him, cut the wheel to the left, got sideways, but he wanted to stay off of David Ragan.
They made a little contact, a little smoke from the tires rubbing together.
Ooh, he may have a flat tire. David Ragan may have a flat tire. Justin Lofton's in the lead.
Ragan slows down. Justin Lofton, he sure enough has the right front tire that is down if he can keep it out of the wall. He's able to stay out of the wall in turns 3 and 4, but he slowed on the racetrack trying to find a way to get back onto pit road. He will make it down on pit road, and we stay green.
Tough break for Justin Lofton. I'm sorry, for David Ragan. But a huge break for Justin Lofton. He was able to drive by him. I think he had the better race car anyway, but when David Ragan cut that right front tire down, it didn't really matter anymore. You know,
amazingly, Justin Lofton was on the left rear is where they made the contact, but it was the right front that went down for David Ragan.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the contact. Jim, what's going on down there?
Well, David Ragan climbed the banking in turns 1 and 2, calling the tires down. Gary Rulo, the crew chief on the box, telling just right side tires. Jason running on the jack. They get both right sides changed, and now he's being held by an ARCA official. So Ragan's chance of victory has evaporated.
Problems with Justin Lofton now. He makes his way onto pit road, so our leader is now on pit road, and the 16 of Justin Allgaier is leading this race.
What an amazing turn of events here inside of 35 laps to go.
Something goes wrong with the 20 of Justin Lofton. He makes his way onto pit road, and now Justin Allgaier in front, potentially winning his 6th race of the 2008 season and a championship.
How about that? What an amazing turn of events to Justin Allgaier.
You know, I mentioned earlier, probably almost 100 laps ago to you, Phil. I said, Phil, isn't it amazing? It doesn't look like there's a scratch on that 16.
He's done a nice show. Trouble. All right, Kenny Schrader's up in the outside wall.
Kenny Schrader in the 52.
Bobby Gerhardt's involved.
The 22 of Ken Butler III pulled right down in front of Todd Bowser in that 21, but Todd was alert enough to stay away, avoid any incident. We have got an amazing stories continuing here in Toledo. David Reagan looked as though he was going to be able to hold off that 20 of Justin Lofton. There was some contact made, and then a right front tire gets cut down by David Reagan, so Justin Lofton moves to the front. We think Lofton now has the strongest car and can stay out in front, and just 2 laps later he has to duck onto pit road.
Yeah, a lot of damage to that Federated Auto Parts Dodge of Kenny Schrader. We're not sure exactly what happened there. Bobby Gerhardt was involved in that incident. Brian Silas also. Ken Butler III. There's Justin Lofton right there. Justin right now is being shown 2 laps down.
Well, you don't want to blink here at Toledo Speedway.
No, this thing is not, you know, there's no question right now. If Justin Allgaier was to cut a tire down while we're under green, then that could put Frank Kimmel in the driver's seat for this championship.
It has been an amazing afternoon at Toledo Speedway here in Toledo, Ohio for the ARCA Remax Championship 200.
It started early. Ricky Stenhouse and Scott Speed made contact very, very early in this race, and then the contact that put Scott Speed behind on pit road with some damage, and then the contact the other way around when Scott Speed made contact with
the word retaliation to Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
To Ricky Stenhouse, exactly, and then put both of those cars in the garage.
Let's take another look at what just took place.
Remember, we saw the 39 and the 20 make contact right here. You see the 20 as on the inside, Justin Lofton. And then David Reagan right after this cuts down the right front tire. We know that didn't have anything to do with David's tire, but that could very well have had something to do with the 20 of Justin Lofton's right front tire going down.
So that's what brought Justin Lofton onto pit road. There we see the Federated Dodge of Kenny Schrader in the infield, and we see Ken out of the racetrack. Jim Trado.
Well, we're going to step into Kenny Schrader's discussion with his crew and find out exactly what did happen. Kenny, what did happen out there on the racetrack?
Ran out of room. Gerhardt decided he needed to not get past, and so he moved up to go around lap car and kind of had him pinned behind it. It's racing, man.
You've been part of a lot of excitement here in Toledo. You've won your share, but also come very close. How about today's race? It's kind of crazy out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's just kids that think they're racing for a championship and maybe they ain't ready to.
How about Justin Allgaier and how proud you are of this kid who might win an ARCA championship by the end of the day?
I couldn't be more proud of him, but we'll just see what happens. But boy, we're sure hoping for him.
Guys.
Thank you, Jim. And we saw Ken Schrader win this race a couple of years back, I believe, and I think Justin finished either second or third in that very race. And the first thing Ken Schrader did was he climbed out of his race car and really ran over to the 16 of Justin Allgaier and congratulated him on such a phenomenal race that he had run.
Kenny Schrader told me about Justin Allgaier before he ever ran an ARCA Remax race. He said, I'm telling you, this is a kid to keep an eye on. He is really smooth, really, really good. At that time, he wasn't but 16 or 17 years old, and here he is, possibly on the verge of winning a championship.
And what an amazing thing that would be for Justin Allgaier to be able to accomplish, especially in the century that has been dominated by Frank Kimmel. Green flag back in the air. 21 laps of racing remain. Justin Allgaier on the verge of a championship.
Matt Carter right now runs in the second spot, and there's Frank Kimmel right there running third.
Frank Kimmel in position if anything were to happen to that 16 of Justin Allgaier. And Kimmel would love to find victory lane one more time in 2008. He's been able to go to victory lane 3 times this year to put his win total to 74 in the ARCA Re Series.
Right now, Justin Allgaier has a beautiful view out his windshield. He sees nothing but racetrack, clean racetrack.
He would love for the laps to be counted down quickly. As we come back to the start-finish line, there will be 18 laps remaining in the 2008 season for the ARCA Re Series. Matt Carter running second. Frank Kimmel runs third. Justin Lofton has battled his way back. He's still a couple laps down, but he's running up toward the front. David Reagan in that 39 also running up toward the front of the pack. Tom Hessert III is running fourth.
Matt Carter all over the back of Justin Allgaier. You see right now here the points as of now. You see Justin Allgaier right now with a 50-point lead over Frank Kimmel. Matt Carter looks to the inside of Justin Allgaier for the lead.
Matt Carter trying to take away the position from Justin Allgaier. Allgaier, I'm sure, trying to be a little cautious as he knows the championship is on the line. Matt Carter now takes the lead in Toledo.
I think right now, if I'm Justin's guys and Frank Kimmel pulls up to his bumper, I'm going to say, let him go too.
Let him go. If you want, go up next to the wall, let him go. Yes. Justin Allgaier running second now. Frank Kimmel runs third. Matt Carter looking for a win here at Toledo. Looking to sweep at this racetrack.
See right now, currently fourth in the points. He's only 75 points behind our point leader right now, Justin Allgaier. What a point battle we've had this season.
Unbelievable as it comes down to the final race of the year. We thought it was between two. Now third and fourth are battling for the championship. Hearing a little bit of tire rub from Patrick Shelter in that 60.
Yeah, I saw the 60 of Patrick Shelter make some contact with that 29 of Brandon Thompson. That's given him a tire rub, but we've only got 13 laps to go right now. Patrick's running in the 5th spot.
How about this? Justin Allgaier looking back to the inside of that 46, trying to take the spot back. He wants to win this race and the championship.
How about that side by side for the lead?
Across the start-finish line, they were side by side. Allgaier gets the nod by 21 thousandths of a second, and now he's pulling away from that 46 as they go into turn 3.
They've got into some heavy lap traffic right now. They've got one more lap car, then they have a bit of a gap. 10 laps to go.
10 laps remaining at Toledo Speedway. 5 miles left in the 2008 ARCA Re Series championship season. Justin Allgaier looking for a championship. Frank Kimmel running back in the 3rd spot on the racetrack and 2nd in the points if he can close the gap.
Justin has a bit of a gap right now to the next lap car. He's got almost a straightaway before he has a lap car in front of him.
Justin Allgaier, 4 car lengths between he and Matt Carter. The laps continue to wind down. 8 to go from Toledo.
There's Frank Kimmel right there. Possibly this century reign by Frank Kimmel may be coming to an end.
And at the hands of Justin Allgaier here at Toledo Speedway. Again, across the stripe. 7 to go for Justin Allgaier. Now, Matt Carter's having trouble with his race car, keeping it down on the white line. And so he will lose a spot on the track to the 20. Oh, and he comes up and slams into the back of the 20. That was Matt Carter getting right into the back of the 20, spinning him around. And that will bring out our 12th caution of the day.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Matt Carter ran in the back of Justin Lofton. Justin right now is being shown a lap or 2 down, 2 laps down actually. He got by, he was faster than Matt Carter got by him, and then Matt ran in the back of him coming off turn 4.
You know, Phil, obviously you've been behind the wheel of many race cars, but I'm guessing your temper gets to build up here toward the end of a race, and we did see that 20 of Justin Lofton right behind the 46 of Matt Carter through 1 and 2, and we saw Carter kind of cheat up the racetrack. There may have been some contact there.
There could have been, and right now Matt Carter's trying to race for a win. And he's got a guy, even though that Justin Lofton has been really, really fast, he's beat 2 laps down right now. We're inside of 10 laps to go. You really don't want anybody messing with you when you're racing for a win and you've got somebody 2 laps down. It's not going to do him any good to get by Matt Carter, because Matt Carter's not the guy leading the race. He's not going to be able to get a lap back that way.
So the caution has come out once again, the 12th time today. Let's take another look. Again, that's the 46 getting right into the back of the 20 of Justin Lofton.
Justin does a great job doing a 360, keeps that car out of the outside wall. There's another view on our speed shot coming off forward. There's the contact. Matt Carter gets on the back of him. Justin lights him up, keeps it turning, and then straightens the wheel out and continues on. Barely loses about 1 position on the racetrack.
Yeah, and a lot of smoke going up in turn number 4, and so the caution flag flies. Justin Allgaier. Well, the one thing that he probably doesn't like about the rules in the ARCA Remax series is these races won't ever end under caution. We will always have a green flag or a checkered finish in the ARCA Remax series.
The good news for Justin, though, it will be a single file restart if he can get a good jump. But what a career this young man has had, and he is moving on up right now. He's moving on up to NASCAR. You can see, look at last season. He had a big win, only 4 top 5 finishes, 10 top 10s, and that was a good season. Finished 4th in points. And how about this season? 5 wins already, 13 top 5 finishes in the first 20 races, and he's moving to Penske Racing.
Phil, he's about 5 laps away from a championship in the ARCA Remax series.
We're not going to jinx him. We're not going to jinx him.
Well, I'm not going to be superstitious. I want to enjoy watching this young man have success. And right now it will be Justin Allgaier that will restart in front of the 46 of Matt Carter, the 44 of Frank Kimmel, the 60 of Patrick Sheltra, and the 1 of Tom Hessert III.
We will have 2 laps to go when we get this restart. They will run 2 laps. Again, ARCA Remax Series does not finish under caution. If we were to have a caution any time before the end of this race, that means we will re-rack, possibly run 1 or 2 laps on a green-white checker.
Additional laps potentially, but this would be the scheduled distance if we're able to get it concluded. When they come to the start-finish line this time, there will be 2 laps of racing to go. The field now in the hands of the 16 of Justin Allgaier. Right behind him, Matt Carter. He's shown his aggression. Let's see if he is able to keep that in check with 2 laps of racing to go. Green flag back in the air at Toledo.
Great start by Justin Allgaier. He knows he's got a half a track before he sees any traffic. He just needs to stay in front of that 46 car.
Justin Allgaier has a good lead over the 46. 2 car lengths as they go through 3 and 4. Coming out of turn number 4, the white flag in the air. 1 lap to go on the 2008 season.
Justin's got 3 or 4 car lengths right now over Matt Carter. We just need for this race to stay green for Justin.
Justin Allgaier working his way through 3 and 4. Here he comes out of 4. Your 2008 champion. Allgaier will win the race, his 6th of the season.
What a tremendous job by Justin this entire season, his entire team. There's his dad, Mike, right there. I talked to him this morning at the hotel, and he was just tickled to death to be here.
Look at the smile on that face. You won't be able to wipe that off for weeks. What an amazing day for Justin Allgaier. He came into this points championship 3rd at the start of this race. He was 110 points back from Scott Speed. And now the celebration begins for Justin Allgaier. The burnout right on the start-finish line in front of the flag stand. And the crowd here at Toledo absolutely eating it up. Jim Trado, I think you have got somebody that is really excited to be talking to you right now.
Absolutely. He asked me, did we win the championship? Focused on the finish. You did not crack a smile to the checkered flag gator. This is huge. What does it mean for you and your family?
Well, it's not over till it's over, so don't ever ask anything before the race is over. But this is unbelievable. It's just, I don't even know how to say it now. You know, I'm not at a loss for words usually, but it's pretty amazing. Just everything that happened today played our way, and thank God.
Andy Belmont, Billy Venturini were the first to shake your hand coming off that box. Has to mean a lot for as much time and effort and money you poured into your son's career.
Well, it just, you know, we've been in ARCA our whole life, and ARCA has been our life, and Justin gets a chance now to maybe do some other things, but it's so special. Championship wasn't even a thought. We hoped for the race, so it worked out better than it could ever happen.
Gator is off to celebrate with his son Justin, who's been racing with him for 16 years.
The exciting thing for Justin Allgaier will be he'll park his car right next to the championship stage. Take a look at this. Ken Schrader making his way over. He also wants to be there to congratulate young Justin Allgaier. The celebration has started and it will continue. We'll hear from the winner next. Justin Allgaier is about to climb out of the race car. Let's let him do it.
Six times a winner, no win bigger than today for a whole lot of reasons. Justin, on the outside chance of a championship, and you raced hard for the win. You weren't going to back down, man. What does this mean for you and the entire operation?
These guys are awesome. There's no words to describe what a feeling it is right now. Frank's won it for the past couple of years, and I know now what the feeling he goes through, and this is unbelievable. Jim Pullman, the crew chief, all these guys, it's unbelievable. But Hoosier Tire Midwest, Ag Tech, this car was awesome. We just fought all day, tried to get to the front, and man, these guys are awesome. I can't say enough about them.
When did it click that you had a chance for the championship and the race to the end of the race, knowing that you had the championship in hand but still wanted to win?
Well, to be honest with you, I knew at the beginning there that things were getting pretty heated, and you know, I kind of knew how many points we were out, but I really wasn't focused on how many spots we needed to finish ahead of them. And honestly, they wouldn't tell me either. But you know, they just kept saying, just keep hitting your marks and doing good. I knew the 46 and the 44 and the 60 were all coming on new tires. Wanted to try to be able to beat them, but you know, I got to thank God because he gave me the ability to do this. All these guys to be here in Victory Lane, to win the 6th race of the year, to be the champion. It feels awesome.
Your mom is here, your dad's here. This future was built when you were a 5-year-old quarter midget racer. Now the future is yours to take.
It started when I was 5. It's not over, hopefully, by any means. You know, to get a call from Roger Penske and sign a contract there was great. To top a year off with that, I don't know how we could have done that and to get a championship. I think I've had the best year in the world anybody could ever have. This has just been a phenomenal year, and we're just so excited about going to the banquet and getting moving into 2009.
A very, very bright future for the 2008 ARCA Re Series champion, Justin Allgaier. Guys?
Justin Allgaier starting this race, he was 3rd in the points. It was Scott Speed and Ricky Stenhouse we thought that would battle it out on the racetrack for the championship, but it ended up being those two that took themselves out of this race and out of contention for a championship. Justin Allgaier had it in his own hands, and what he did with it was go on to win the race and the championship in 2008.